Join us this week as we descend into the darker side of human nature and uncover the shadows that dwell in the unknown. From chilling true crime and gruesome murders to spine-tingling paranormal encounters that defy explanation, we're peeling back the curtain on things that go bump in the night. So grab a flashlight and maybe a blanket, because you're listening to The Guilty and the Ghostly.
Ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Set. Go!
Do I need to push one of my fancy buttons?
Sure. If that makes you feel better. Oh, that is a fancy button.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome back. We had a nice little week-long trip.
Yep. Welcome back to the GGP.
We have new equipment. We're hoping it all works this time. We've been battling it, trying to figure it out.
It hasn't been that bad. I think our biggest problem has been connection issues.
Yeah, I really think we're going to have to bring a cord in here and quit working off of Wi-Fi.
Probably so.
Get to it.
All right.
All right.
$1 million.
Please. Not crapping in Joe Dirt. So we got to take our kids on a cool little adventure. Josh took me to this church just a few years ago.
It's been a lot longer than a few. I almost couldn't find it. It had been so long we've been out there.
It took us forever to find it. He'd turn down a road and be like, yeah, it's this one. I know it's this one. And it'd be a dead end. And he'd be like, oh, no, it's the next one. I know it's this one. And we'd go down and it'd be a dead end.
We were making memories with the kids.
We found it eventually. It just took a minute. But I think the kids enjoyed it. They had fun. We got to see the unknown cowboy's grave.
Yep.
Why don't you go ahead and tell them the lore of the unknown cowboy?
Well, I really don't know the whole story behind it. I just know what I heard as a kid.
That would be what the lore is,
So,
hun.
Maybe I need to do some research on that and we can have a story there.
Do you have a mouse in your pocket? Are you going to do the research?
I said we.
You and your mouse? I have enough research to do.
I'll see what I can find out. But anyway, when I was a kid, it was always told that there was a grave that was unmarked, and I can't remember if somebody found it when they were making the cemetery or what the story was. That's the part I've got to look up and figure out.
Yeah.
But supposedly, they had found this guy, and it was unmarked, so somebody had, I guess, dug it up and figured out what it was. But I'd heard that he was dressed basically like a cowboy, so they made a headstone and called it the Unknown Cowboy.
Mm.
And then, as the years went on, supposedly if you laid on his grave and said his name and said that he could take you over, he would take you over for like 24 hours or something like that.
We tried to get May to lay on it. She wouldn't do it.
The kids wouldn't go for it.
I think there's something with offering him a beer, too, because like there's all kinds of beers sitting around it.
I can't remember that part, but I don't ever remember there being beers there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I can't say yes or no to that.
Who knows? Ouch. I also may have flour all over my shirt because I just made dinner. So if you see it, no, you don't.
It was so good.
It was good.
It was really good. Being able to harvest and make your own food, it's a pretty good feeling.
Make you feel manly.
Sure.
It does. I could tell you're fighting it, trying to act like it don't.
No, it was definitely a cool experience.
It was cool. I'll give you that. It was good. Good food. Well, I guess we need to go ahead and jump in. I don't think I have any other updates. Nothing that I can remember. The Slender Man girl got caught.
The Slender Man girl.
Well, the girl that stabbed her best friend and said it was because of Slender Man. Jerk.
The way you said that just sounded funny.
Slender Man girl. She got caught. She cut her ankle monitor off and escaped the group home that she was in. That was literally just a few miles down from the victim's home. And she was missing over 8 hours before it was reported to the police.
That's pretty nuts.
Insane. But they found her at a truck stop or something like that in Illinois with a friend. And I guess she was kind of throwing a fit when they were trying to arrest her and everything else. So... crazy. And I don't have much going on. We do have some exciting episodes coming up, including tonight. And then we'll be recording the second part tomorrow with a special guest. So I guess we'll go ahead and dive in. Tonight we're going to cover the first part. So this is technically going to be a 3-parter. So we are going to cover the true crime part of it tonight with just you and me. And then tomorrow we will be recording for next week's episode with Remember That podcast.
Yep.
So if you guys haven't followed them yet, go follow Remember That. That way you can be prepared for the next episode drop. So like I said, tonight we're doing true crime. Next week we're going to do the paranormal side of it. And then I believe next week, I'll have to figure out the dates and I'll let everybody know. We are going to go on their podcast and break down the Amityville horror movie.
Yep.
So that kind of tells you what we're covering today.
It's going to be fun.
I think so. We got to find time to watch that movie too.
I mean, I can watch it tonight.
No, I cannot. Maybe tomorrow, because we're recording kind of early tomorrow with them. Because of the time difference, and Corky's got to get up early, so we should be done by 8-ish, I would say. Probably before that tomorrow, so we can maybe watch it tomorrow.
Like before or after?
After, homegirl.
I was going to say, I don't know that I'll be home in time.
Yeah, no, after, like when we're going to bed.
All right.
Okay. To date.
I'll probably watch one tonight.
I can't stand him. Anyways... So tonight and I'm doing this on my phone, and I did not realize how small the writing is until now that I'm trying to read it. And I'm like, holy crap, I can't see this. I'm getting old. Tonight, we're diving into one of the darkest chapters in American true crime history, the DeFeo murders. 1974, a quiet home in Amityville, New York, became the site of a chilling family massacre that would ignite decades of fear, speculation, and supernatural legend. And because this case is just that big, like I said, we're going to be covering it in 3 different parts. So on November 13th, 1974, at about 6:30 p.m., a young man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. burst through the doors of a local bar called Henry's Bar, and he yells, "You've got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." Everyone was taken back and surprised by the sudden commotion. Regular patrons of the bar, John Altieri, Joe Yesuit, Bobby Keksky, which was one of Ron's friends, Al Saxton, and we talked about this last name before, and we're like, it kind of sounds like a disease or something. William Scordamaglia. Scordamaglia. Yep, what Josh said.
This is the 3rd time she said this word, guys.
I can't with this word. Well, all of these guys ended up piling into a car, and they drove to the DeFeo house on 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. It was a large, 3-story Dutch colonial home sitting on a quiet, tree-lined street. Its most recognizable feature was the pair of quarter-moon eye windows on the 3rd floor, which even in the movie, the horror movie, that is like a huge feature of it, is those those windows that look like eyes peering at you. This gave the home an eerie, almost watchful expression, even before knowing the tragedy that had taken place. A long, covered front porch stretched across the front of the property, and it had a boathouse that kind of connected to a canal right behind the house.
And it was a very pretty house.
Beautiful
But
house.
those windows were very ominous looking for some reason.
Yes.
Even in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they did such a good job making the movie house look just like the real house. If it wasn't the real house, I haven't figured that out.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that either. We'll have to be looking at that stuff while we're watching the movie.
Yeah.
And figure it out. But definitely. Well, the house had multiple bedrooms, a formal dining room, spacious living room with a large brick fireplace, and a basement that was a popular hangout spot for all the DeFeo children. Which I did get a lot of my information from Morbid, the true crime podcast. Ash and Elena are amazing. Elena is like, that girl can get some information. Like, where she finds all of her details and stuff, I don't know. But the girl is like a machine when it comes to getting information. So I got a lot of my information from their coverage of this.
Okay.
And she even mentioned that this house, it had a sign on the front, and it's, now that we know what happens, it said like something like high hopes, kind of like live, laugh, love or whatever. It was high hopes. It was just kind of like a little decorative sign on the front porch, and it's kind of sad now that you know what happens and having that in the front yard. They also had like a Virgin Mary statue in the front yard. They were really religious. So just kind of setting the scene of this beautiful home.
Yeah.
The house was well decorated with pictures of the DeFeo family. The family consisted of the parents, Ronald Sr., age 43, Louise, age 42, which was the mother, and their 5 children. The oldest, Ron Jr., who is 23, and the gentleman that went through the bar and said, hey, my parents have been shot. Ron, who was 18, Allison, 13, Mark, 12, and John, age 9. That's a lot of kids. A lot of little kids.
Yeah, it is.
And it's kind of a wide range. I mean, 9 to 23, that's a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
No one knew what exactly to expect as they were pulling up to the large white house, but from the outside, it was the picture perfect of comfortable, middle-class Long Island life. The kind of place you'd never suspect would soon become one of America's most infamous crime scenes. The group of guys walked up the porch. Most of the group hung back outside, including Ron DeFeo, while Bobby Kelsky and John Altieri opened the door, and they were met with a hauntingly still and eerily quiet house. A house that would normally have the normal sounds of 4 siblings going about their daily lives, a mother and father I keep saying fuller. A mother and father trying to control the chaos, but the only sound that could be heard was an alarm clock going off from one of the upstairs rooms, and a dog barking outside. No movement, no sign of life, just emptiness with the jarring sounds echoing through the house. So it's, just after 6:30 at night, and this is a huge family of many kids, and they walk in, and it's just completely quiet, just hearing the alarm, which that's creepy anyways, like we talked before.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the time when alarms are supposed to be going off.
Right. And, I mean, just listening to our 3 just a moment ago.
Yeah.
When it gets quiet, something's wrong.
Something's up. They're into something. They're doing something they're not supposed to. Something. So I couldn't imagine walking into that. Bobby and John begin checking the house. John makes the first discovery in the master bedroom of Ron's parents, their lifeless bodies. They then check the bedroom across the hall, where Ron's 2 younger brothers, Mark and John, were found laying face down in their bed, still in their pajamas, completely covered in blood. As Bobby and John were making their way through the home, Joe Yeswitt came into the house and he decided to call 911 from the DeFeo's kitchen phone. He told the dispatcher that there had been a shooting there, that there was a guy that had told them that there had been a shooting. And when he relayed the information, he said, "Everyone is dead." When the call came in, there was an officer named Kenneth Guguski that was patrolling nearby. Once he heard the call, he rushed over to the house and was the first one on the scene. So he really doesn't know what he's coming into either. He just knows there's been a report of a shooting and he's getting there as fast as he can. He doesn't know, which I guess we haven't said it yet, but an entire family has been murdered. He has no clue what he's walking into. The officer made his way back to the master bedroom where he saw Ronald Sr. on the right and Louise on the left, laying face down on the bed. Louise was partially covered by their blanket, but Officer Guguski immediately could see a large hole in Louise's nightgown from a gunshot wound.
Is that Mario's brother?
Mario Luisi. Well, he could see a gunshot wound and blood soaking the bed and the linens from her wound. Ron was still in his boxer shorts with a hole in the lower part of his back. Officer Guguski then went across the hall to the boys' room. This is the room the alarm clock was going off in. They were also laying face down in their bed, and both boys with a bullet wound in their lower backs. So we're up to 4 victims now. All 4 are laying face down with bullet wounds. After seeing the 4 bodies, Officer Guguski decided he needed assistance and returned to the first floor to call and give basically an update on what he found. As he was relaying the information to dispatch, he noticed that Ron Jr. was standing nearby crying, but he also noticed that Ron was intensely listening to the information that the officer was relaying to dispatch. Like, he'd be kind of sniffling, like, "Oh, poor me," and then he'd start talking, and he'd like kind of side eye him, like, "What you talking about over there?" So, to keep that in mind.
It's a little suspicious.
That's suspicious. That's weird. Other officers finally began arriving, and that is when Ron told them that he also had 2 sisters that lived in the home. And he told the officer that Allison had a room on the 2nd floor, and his oldest sister's room was on the 3rd floor in the attic. So why is he just now saying, "Oh yeah, I've got 2 sisters that are unaccounted for"? Like, they could be in there, they could not be. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just now. Coming to the realization that there could be other victims in the home, they quickly made their way back up to the 2nd floor and tried to locate the 3rd room that belonged to Allison. Officer Guguski opens the door, and Allison is found, laying face down, just like the others, covered by her bedspread. As the officer moves closer to examine her, he discovers that 13-year-old Allison had a gunshot wound to the side of her face. Blood had soaked into her bed, and there was a bloody puddle forming just below her. 13 years old. The 2 officers then made their way through the house and found the stairs that led to the attic. They cautiously made their way up the stairs one by one. When they entered the room, they found 18-year-old Dawn covered by her bedspread, laying face down, but she was shot in her chest. They also found the DeFeo's sheepdog Shaggy tied to the back door, and this was the dog that they could hear like barking and going nuts outside.
Are we fixing to get murdered?
Somebody in here? They're gonna scare the shit out of me. It's gonna be payback.
That was kind of a scary sound.
But this was very odd because Shaggy was known to sleep inside the house at night. Like, they did not leave Shaggy outside at night. He always came in and slept inside. And when I was looking for pictures, which I'll try to put up pictures as we're talking, I found a picture of when they are, like, assessing the crime scene and investigating. They didn't know what to do with him, and they were worried he was going to get hurt or hurt somebody because, there's all these random people in his house. He just witnessed what happened to his family. I'm sure he's going crazy. They stuck him in an officer's car, and he was just hanging out in the car while they investigated the house. And
he showed me a picture of that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, which I'll put it up. He's a big old sheepdog. He's a big dog.
What was that movie that Tom Hanks was in with that great big dog that ate that car?
Cujo?
No.
Oh. Turner and Hooch?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that it?
I think so. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
And that dog's about that big.
Yeah, he's huge. Officers then started the investigation, trying to figure out who could have done this. They went and started talking to neighbors. One neighbor said that they did notice all the lights were still on in the DeFeo home at about 10, which is kind of odd, but nothing too strange because, again, it is a whole family with a whole different wide range of ages. So, I mean, just kind of like us, the girls may be up late and Jackson's in bed or whatever. It wasn't so out of the ordinary where they were like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. But however, another neighbor would say that they were woken up early in the morning hours around 3 a.m. to the family dog barking. And that was strange because, like we mentioned before, Shaggy didn't sleep outside. So it was very odd that he was out in the yard barking at 3 a.m. The witching hour. With no sign of struggle, no signs of being robbed, and very little evidence to go on, they began looking at the only survivor of the family, Ron DeFeo, the oldest son. They did start searching the house basically immediately. They found several different guns and several different types of ammunition in Ron's room, which isn't against the law, but it's just kind of odd that he had all of these guns and all the ammunition in his bedroom. The first interview with Ron, they made him go through the timeline of that day. He told him he woke up and he wasn't feeling well, and so he kind of like had a stomach thing, and so he didn't get up like his normal time. He said he didn't get up till about 9 a.m. He actually worked at a car dealership that was owned by, it's either his uncle or grandpa. I think I say it later on. I don't remember, but it's either his uncle or his grandfather.
It's Uncle Grandpa.
Uncle Grandpa. He said that he tried calling home a few times that day once he got to work, but nobody answered the phone, which is another kind of weird thing. Why are you calling home? If you're supposed to be at work, why are you calling home?
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of strange. When no one was picking up, he decided to leave work at about noon. And here's another thing. He says that he thought he should go home and check on things, but he left work at noon.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't bust through those doors of the bar until 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
So 6.5 hours. What were you doing? Which we'll find out.
It's oddly suspicious. I mean, you wouldn't think that someone would wait that long to report something like that. I mean,
or even if you're as concerned as you say you are, like, oh, I was so concerned because they wouldn't answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got off at work at noon and you didn't go check on them till 6:30?
Right.
Either way, it's just kind of like, okay, that's weird. When no one was picking up, he decided to leave work at noon and went home to check on everything. He said all the doors were locked, so he had to force open a kitchen window to enter. Which, again, how did the killer get in or out if everything was locked?
Right.
He immediately noticed that the house was way too quiet. He went upstairs and went to his mom and dad's room where he found them shot. He said he freaked out and ran straight to the bar. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. for now. The detectives had asked if he heard a gunshot during the night, and he said no, but I'm a really heavy sleeper and didn't hear anything. We talked about it and we were like, that's weird. But Sunday morning, Josh was hunting on our back porch.
Get it how you can get it.
That's true. And he fired a shot, and I was the only one awake, and I heard it. It scared the ever-living shit out of me, even though I knew he was back there. Not one of our kids woke up. Not a single one. And I mean, it was loud. It was very loud.
Yep.
And not one single kid woke up. Now, the difference is it was outside the house. We were inside. And it was only one shot. But there were multiple gunshots in this house that went off.
Mm-hmm.
How did they not hear that?
I don't know.
Wild. So Ron told him no, he's a heavy sleeper. He didn't hear anything. They then asked if he knew of anybody that would want to harm his family. Because as of right now, they're like, he seems to be forthcoming. Like he's telling us all this stuff. He seems truly upset what happened to his family. Like who would want to hurt your family?
And I understand the heavy sleeper thing. We got 2 of them.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ron DeFeo would tell them that his father had dealings with the mob, and he probably had pissed off the wrong people. That's when he dropped the name Louis Fellini, a.k.a. Tony Mazzio. So I seen both names referenced when researching this, so it's the same guy. I guess, I don't know, do mobsters have multiple names, I guess?
I guess so. I've never heard of an AKA, a totally different name.
Yeah, not anywhere close. But
I wonder if maybe that's like when people get caught with like fake IDs and shit.
Maybe
that
that's
becomes
how.
an AKA or something in the system.
Yeah, maybe. It was just weird because both of them were referenced in multiple different
I'll have to look into that if that's a thing. I'm not sure, but I guess that would work one way.
Yeah.
Unless you have a nickname.
Yeah.
Which that'd be a really weird nickname just to name somebody totally different.
Yeah, not anywhere close. Well, he told them that Fellini hated his father and had sworn to kill him someday. The detectives asked why Fellini would do this, and that's when Ron would go on and explain that one day he was running errands for the dealership that his uncle owned, so it's his uncle. And there were rumors that Ron's uncle and grandfather were actually associated with the mob. Well, according to Ron, that day he was taking money to the bank for his grandfather and uncle and was held at gunpoint and robbed. They took several $1,000, and Ron Jr. told Ron Sr. what happened, and Sr. was like, I'm calling BS. That didn't happen. You lost the money, and now I don't just have to worry about you losing the money. I'm also going to lose a really good friend over this, and was basically blaming him for it. This, of course, caused a huge rift between Senior and Fellini, and Ron also volunteered some new information that the family kept a cash box in his parents' bedroom. Not only that, but Fellini himself actually helped Ronald Sr. build this cash box and hiding place for the money. So if that box is missing or empty, Fellini would know where it would be, and he was the only other person that knew it. So he's really setting the stage for this mob tie.
Yeah, he's really trying to paint a really vivid picture.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, the detectives are kind of catching on, like, what are you talking about? And so they bring up the fact that everyone in the house was shot and killed except for him. How you gonna explain that? Can you explain that to me?
He was in the safe room.
Well, he told them that they must have entered the house after he left for work that morning. Well, by this time, the detectives had done some more searching of the house. And that's when the detectives tell DeFeo that they found an empty box a rifle box in his room, and they asked him about it. And he claimed it was his, but he didn't have the gun anymore. He either lost it or maybe he sold it. He wasn't sure. They told him that it looked to be the same type of gun that was used to shoot Ron's entire family. And of course, he denied it. He claimed it's a very popular gun that many people have. They told him that it looked kind of bad. Like, are you sure? Because it's kind of not looking great for you, buddy. He assured them he had nothing to do with it. That's when they also noticed that Ron had a few marks on his arms.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of like, what's that all about? And Ron admitted to being a casual drug user. The drug of choice as a casual drug user? Heroin.
Oh, yeah.
Heroin.
Very casual drug there, guys.
Very cash. Very cash.
I've only seen like 337 videos on YouTube with people doing that shit and like passing out in their cars and
Yeah.
not even able to do nothing.
Yeah. Well, he's just a casual drug user, and he just so happened to go to his buddy's house after he got off of work today and casually use heroin. So
you mean after he got off work when he left to go check on his parents?
He was so worried. He was so worried about his family and his parents and not answering the phone that he's like, first I need to go casually do some heroin.
He got to go get his fix.
Then I will go check on my family who is not answering my phone calls.
Seems a little suspicious.
Seems a little strange.
The story just gets deeper and deeper every time that man opens his mouth.
I know. It's not done yet. We're not through.
I had a feeling there were more lies coming.
They're on their way. Then Ronald just kept on like spewing at the mouth. He went ahead and just volunteered that he has a past and he's actually on parole right now. And he told him that he just wanted to tell him everything because he didn't want to seem like he was hiding anything from them. He's just being 100% truthful with them. He just wants to tell them everything.
I wonder what he was on parole for.
I meant to go look it up and I didn't. I think it was drinking and fighting and drugs.
Felony charges?
I have no idea. I was going to go back and look.
Yeah, we should have looked at that.
And I forgot.
We should have looked at that.
We can look at that tomorrow, later.
Yeah.
Yeah. The detectives were very suspicious at this point, but they weren't just like outright accusing him. His mob hit story, changing details, the empty rifle box, all of it kind of caused the investigators to keep pressing him. But they also knew that Ron did just lose his entire family. And now they know he might be under the influence of heroin. This could also, account for the odd behavior, maybe even the confusing details. And he could be innocent.
You know what mixes really well with heroin? Guns.
Yeah.
Really good mixture.
It's great. It's wonderful. Well, they asked DeFeo if he had anywhere to stay that night. They're like, you don't need to go to the house. It's still under lockdown. We're still, processing the crime scene. You need somewhere to go. And Ron was like, well, what do I do if the mob shows back up and tries to kill me? Like, I don't want to bring the mob to anybody. And he's like, well, can I just stay here? They're like, sure, buddy.
Stay where your parents got shot.
No. Stay at the police station.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
He's like, can I stay here at the police station where you can protect me from the mob? They're like, sure, buddy, sure. So they get him a cot and they let him stay in a cell overnight. And he sleeps at the police station that night.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine committing that kind of crime and then asking the cops to put you in jail?
Can I have a sleepover?
That is so weird.
I brought my spend a night bag.
That whole situation just screams there's something wrong with this guy.
Crazy. The family was known as like a great all-American family. They would always go out of their way to help neighbors. There were always involved with their kids' lives. No one really had anything bad to say them. They were super religious, involved in church. There was one neighbor where she was like, yeah, my car broke down. I didn't have a way to work. So Ron Sr. always just took me to work. No questions asked. Like, he just did it just to help me out. So they seemed like a really good family. The same couldn't be said about Ron Jr. He was known to drink, hang out with a rougher crowd. They were, known to party, cause fights. And the relationship between him and his father was known to be very volatile. Well, by the next day, the autopsy on the deceased family members had been completed, and they did confirm that all 6 victims were killed with a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. The empty box that was in Ron Jr.'s room was a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. Again, each victim was face down. None of them showed signs of struggle or being bound or drugged. They even did a toxicology report and found no sedatives, no sleeping pills, or any other drugs in the family's bodies. Because that will keep coming around even in next week's story is, again, it's so crazy to think, one, every single one of them was face down in their bed. Not everybody sleeps face down. That is kind of weird. 2, that many gunshots went off in that house, and nobody got out of bed to see what it was. It's just kind of strange, and it just makes you wonder, was there a lot of loud noises going on? Like, was Ron Jr. kind of a jerk and just banging around all the time? So they're just like, it's drunk Ron again, just falling up the stairs, I
mean, that's always a possibility.
It just makes you wonder. Just very strange.
Kind of makes you wonder what else went on in the house.
Exactly. Which I think I will go into that a little bit too.
Yeah.
So we are going to go over the wounds for each victim. So we are going to start with Ronald DeFeo Sr., 43 years old. Shot twice. 1 bullet entered his back and then exited through his kidney abdomen area. Second shot entered the lower back and traveled upward. Both wounds were fatal, and the autopsy indicated that he was likely awake or beginning to rise when he was shot the second time, based on the angle. Then we have Louise DeFeo, shot twice. Both shots entered her torso while she laid face down. 1 bullet perforated her lung, the other her liver, and they said it was a very fast death after being shot. Then we have Dawn DeFeo, age 18, shot once at close range, about 2 feet from her, in the back of the head. Instant death, and the left side of her face had completely collapsed.
Wow.
Gunpowder residue was found on her nightgown and body. This became important because some later theories suggest that Dawn may have been awake or started to move and was closer to the muzzle blast than the rest of the family. There's a lot more close range.
Right. They could probably tell by like little burn marks and stuff.
Then we have Allison DeFeo, age 13, shot once behind the right ear, lodging the bullet in the wall just behind the bed. Instant death. Body position indicated that she may have woken up as well and possibly turned at the last second before being shot, which means she would have locked eyes with the killer right before they pulled the trigger.
Wow.
Can you imagine seeing your sibling standing there with a gun? I could not even imagine.
No, that's crazy.
We have Mark, age 12, shot once in the back. Bullet traveled upward through his chest, likely died within seconds. Some medical examiners believe that Mark may have been trying to lift himself or was in the process of turning when he got shot, like rolling over. Then you have John DeFeo shot once in the lower back. Bullet traveled upward into his chest cavity, and no signs of movement or defensive wounds. Again, quick death. It is believed that the killer stood between the beds and fired at both boys very quickly before either could fully wake up. Again, all seemed to have heard nothing. All were still in bed, completely unaware of multiple gunshots going off. No neighbors ever said to had heard the gunshots, but they did hear the dog barking, which is just kind of strange.
Yeah, I was going to bring something up about that earlier. He was talking to the police about all that stuff and them coming into his house and doing that, but who tied the dog up?
Yeah, who tied the dog up?
Because if you know anything about dogs, a lot of the time they don't like that.
Yeah. And
especially with a stranger.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it's different if a stranger comes in and grabs them. They're going to make a complete ruckus.
Like I watched Charlie one time chase a guy out of the house that was bringing in our washer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Scariest bark I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine walking into somebody's house in the middle of the night with ill intentions, and the dog just lets you take him outside.
Yeah. Oh, we're going on for a walk? Okay.
Yeah.
No, not happening. No evidence of the bodies being staged. There was no signs of real movement or like being put in a different position. Like where they shot is where they laid.
Mm-hmm.
Where they laid is where they were shot. Where they laid, where they were shot. Where they shot, they were laid. Is
that some kind of witchcraft thing you're...
I'm chanting. I'm over here chanting. Well, the next morning on November 15th, around 9 a.m., detectives woke Ron up and he immediately asked if they found Fellini, the mob guy. They told Ron no, they were still looking for him. And then the detective then told Ron that they really wanted to talk to him some more after the findings of the autopsy and the empty box that they found in the house and some other evidence that they have been slowly putting together through the night. That's when they went ahead and arrested Ron and read him his rights. So they woke him up in the cell on the cot and was like, "You're under arrest, bud. Thanks for making it easy."
Arrested in jail.
Yeah.
That would be the worst.
Wild. They did ask Ron if he wanted a lawyer, and he said no. At first, Ron stuck to his story that he believed the mob was after his family. Once they started slowly presenting all the evidence, Ron began changing his story again. He would later say that he was actually in the basement and heard the gunshots go off. Another time, he stated that he did find his siblings' bodies and that he had even seen John's toes twitching, and this would set off alarm bells for the detectives as well. They believe for him to have seen that, he had to have been right there after he was shot, which is kind of like the Mendez brothers. That's how one of the reasons they got caught, or one of the first signs that they did it, was, I can't remember if it was Lyle or Eric, but they asked them to go through the scene again, and they, of course, were going through, and he's like, we walked in, and there was smoke filling the room, and the detective's like, well, if they were killed before you were here, there would be no smoke in the room, and that's if you were there as it was happening.
Right.
So same
would
thing.
Dissipate really fast.
Yeah. Same type of thing here.
And then if most of those, like you said that all of those were quick
Mm-hmm.
deaths, correct? So you would have had to been there within just a few seconds
Mm-hmm.
to see that.
Yep. The detective said, how about we start over and we start with the day before? Let's just go ahead and go to like supper time. And it was almost like a light switch flipped on DeFeo. You know, at first he was, oh, my family, I love my family. I was so worried about my family and I love them and yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, after they're like, let's start over. We're on to you. Let's start at dinner. Ron then said that his mother made some kind of shit for dinner. It smelled like shit. It looked like shit. It tasted like shit. And she's a horrible cook. And they're just kind of like, you are talking about your mother that was just shot in your house. And you are going to talk about her cooking like that?
Right.
Okay. The detectives then were taking back. Now all of a sudden he's putting his mother's cooking down. He then started talking about his younger brothers, referring to them as a couple of effing pigs. He would then go into detail about sharing a bathroom with the younger boys and how they would leave the toilet paper hanging out of the toilet and left the bathroom just absolutely disgusting.
I can attest for that.
I was going to say, we share a bathroom with the little boy because the girls refuse to share a bathroom with him, so he gets stuck with us. Little boys are gross.
Yeah, they are.
They leave the bathroom gross. But I'm not going to sit there and call him an effing pig.
Right.
Like, and again, your brothers were just shot and killed, and you're going to just start calling them names and tell how disgusting they were?
Yeah, that's not very natural. Most people's reaction when people die is all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. They lit up a room.
Yeah.
Don't you ever say I lit up a room if anything ever happens to me.
That's going to be the first thing on your obituary.
No.
She lit up every room she walked into.
Psych!
You could feel her heart of ice.
Heart of ice. Frosty. Well, he would go on to call Dawn a fat fuck.
Wow.
And that she would listen to, and he would use the N-word music loudly. He was kept using racial slurs when describing the music that she would listen to. And he would even go on to say, like, he couldn't even ask her to turn it down. And she would listen to it all day long and all night long. And I couldn't even say anything about it because I would just get the shit beat out of me by Ronald Sr.
Mm-hmm.
He would then start ranting and raving about Ronald Sr. He's cheap. He's abusive. He would claim that his grandfather was the same way. He made it very clear that there was animosity towards his family.
Yeah, seriously. He had something against everybody under that roof.
And especially his father. Like when he talked about his dad, like you could see the anger building up in him.
How old was he?
20. The killer or the suspect, 23.
And living at home.
Living at home. Yep. Working at his uncle's car dealership.
Maybe he needed a break.
Maybe.
That's a lot of family.
That is when he would finally say, you know what? Dawn was actually the one that shot everyone in the house. And then he would shoot Dawn because she shot everybody else and it was self-defense. But then he changes that story too several different times.
This guy is a piece of work.
It's crazy. So Ron was just, ranting, raving about how bad his family was, how awful they treated him. His story kept changing. Detectives finally had enough and decided, we're just going to let him sit and stew for a minute. Like, he's all worked up. He keeps changing his story around. They didn't say a word. They just got up and left the room and let him sit.
Yep. Sometimes just making them sit like that and they start getting in their own head and trying to figure out what you know and what did I just say, because I can't remember half of that bullshit that I just spilled.
Yeah. Well, they let him sit there for a little while and until they bring in Detective Dennis Rafferty. Detective Rafferty pushed him like harder and harder once he got in there. Like, he didn't let up. He was like, you're answering my questions.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yep. His alibi was already cracking. His timeline wasn't matching. He brought up the mob situation again, and the detective basically told him there's no way the mob would have let you walk out of there alive unless if you had something to do with it.
Exactly.
Ron was fidgeting. He was exhausted. Finally, I think it was like 6 hours later, he exhaled, and the truth that they've been kind of going about all day, he leaned forward and he whispered, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It all just started happening so fast."
You're supposed to whisper.
I'm not a whisperer.
This is ASMR time.
We'll try again. "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It all just started happening so fast."
That sounds so bad out of context.
Welcome to the dark romance. And that's where he began explaining what happened. So there's little nuggets of truth in this, I think, but I don't know if we ever get the full truth, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ron claims he fell asleep on the couch that night, the night of the murders, and decided, like, he just woke up in the middle of the night and said, "You know what? I'm going to murder my family. That's it. I'm going to do it."
I've had enough of y'all's shit.
He woke up and he went to his room and grabbed his .35 Marlin rifle. He first entered his parents' room just before 3 a.m. and shot his father first and then his mother. He claimed his father had tried getting up, so he shot his father again, who then quit moving. He then went through the house, killing his siblings. Ron stated he next walked down the hall into Dawn's bedroom, and he shot her while she was asleep. After Dawn, he entered Allison's room. He claimed she briefly woke up right before he shot her. He then entered the boys' room, first shooting Mark and then shooting the youngest sibling, John. After killing his entire family, he began cleaning up. He collected all the empty shell casings, all the bloody clothes he was wearing, and he put them in a pillowcase. Then took his time and decided to go take a shower and trim his beard in the same house that he just murdered his entire family in.
Yeah, this guy's sick.
He left the house with the pillowcase and the rifle. He started driving to work and disposed of the rifle in a pond and then threw his pillowcase with the casings and bloody clothes into a storm drain in Brooklyn on his way to work, which I will post a picture of that.
Why didn't he just throw it all in the pond?
No idea. DeFeo would admit that his family had a life insurance worth about $200,000. That would equal to be about $1.2 million today. And of course, leaving him the sole survivor, he would be the beneficiary.
I could use $1.2 million.
I do too, but I ain't gonna kill my whole family for it.
No, me either.
The detectives tried to get Ron to sign a sworn statement to his confession, and he refused. Why, you might ask? Because he was scared that his grandfather would see it. What? The detectives had Ron draw a map of where he disposed of the evidence, and they were able to find the pillowcase, the casings, all of that he threw in the storm drain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they found the rifle. I remember looking that up, but I don't remember.
I think that's what you told me the last time.
Yeah, I don't think they
about
found it. Well, he was charged with 6 counts of second-degree murder.
Second-degree?
Second-degree. 6 counts of second-degree murder. The confession shook the town. Many believed the mob hit made more sense. No one could believe that a son would do this to his entire family. Some of Ron's friends and his probation officer also were in shock. No one, they were like, there's no way. How could somebody do that to their family? On November 15th, Ron was arraigned, and his defense attorney requested a psychological evaluation on Ron. The defense attorney also brought up bruising that Ron had on his body, saying it was a sign that he was not being treated fairly while in police custody. Ron would go as far as to say that the detectives basically beat a confession out of him. Which, hold up, didn't you just pack your spin a night bag and ask to stay in that cell all night?
Yeah,
if they're beating you so badly, why are you asking to stay at the lease?
And if they did, good.
He claims they refused to give him food, they refused to give him water, they slammed his head on a wall and into a filing cabinet. He said that they wouldn't allow him his basic rights to an attorney, which they asked him, do you want an attorney? And he said, nope.
Mm-hmm. And kids, if they ever ask you for an attorney, get your attorney.
Get you. Don't say a word. The detectives were investigated, but no claims were ever found to be true. The only injury that Ron had at the time was a small cut above his eye. One of Ron's friends had stated that the cut above his eye came from an altercation from Ron Sr. and Ron Jr. a week before the murders. So it does seem like things might have gotten physical in the house between father and son, at least. I don't know about the younger kids. There were some claims that Ron Sr. could get loud. Doesn't necessarily mean he was beating his kids, but just interesting.
There's times where I gotta get loud. Gotta get out the dad voice.
The judge said no to the evaluation.
That was an old Bill Phillips special right there.
That was. The judge said no to an evaluation. Not only that, but also would not set a bail for Ron. Finally, in October I put 1976, but I think it's 1975. The trial would begin, and the prosecution would start with the opening statement noting the strained relationship between Ron and his family, especially his father, the life insurance policy, basically just saying this is what he did and this is why he did it. They said this was not a spur-of-the-moment killing, but premeditated. One example to prove this was the dog being tied up outside.
Which we just talked about.
Yes.
That's definitely a huge indicator that,
yeah,
come on.
Which to me, thank God he didn't hurt the dog. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you can tie the dog outside and not hurt the dog. But you're going to go through and murder your entire family?
The dog didn't piss him off.
I guess not. Shaggy was cool, all right? It's just, like, there's no rational thinking.
No, there's none at all. But, I mean, he was also a fucking heroin user, too.
True.
So that dude's brain is probably fried anyway.
True. Well, they also noted the cleanup and getting rid of all the evidence. Because if it was really spur of the moment, he didn't know what he was doing and he was insane. Why is he going to such great lengths to hide everything?
Right.
The defense attorney opened up stating that the confession only came about after Ron had been beaten into it and that Ron would take the stand to finally reveal the truth of what happened.
Which I'm still not 1,000% sure we got the truth.
I don't think so either.
As many times as that man lied to them people, his story, he probably started believing shit that he was telling them.
Mm-hmm. Well, they also brought forward many psychiatrists onto the stand during the trial, trying to show that Ron was not mentally competent enough to be held responsible for what happened. The medical examiner would take the stand to discuss the extent of injuries and that some of the victims were woken up and aware of what was happening right before they were shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like his sister turning and locking eyes, and his oldest sister seemingly to turn and be shot in the chest rather than the back.
Well, I mean, I would think the son of a bitch was insane too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, detectives would take the stand to discuss the scene, the interactions with Ron, the day of the murders. They also talked about Ron's confession of heroin use the day of the murders.
Mm-hmm.
They discussed all the inconsistencies of Ron's stories, the hidden empty Marlin box, and his disparaging remarks of his family. Ron's aunt would even take the stand to say that his mental health history was all made up before the murders. They were doing this, making this excuse for him even before the murders took place. She said that there was a man paid $5,000 to keep Ron out of the draft. This also supports the claim that Ronald Sr. would pay people off just to keep Jr. out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
On November 6th, Ron took the stand. He would go on to say that it was his duty to kill anyone who was a threat, and he didn't see any wrongdoing when he murdered his family because it was self-defense.
That's an insane claim.
It gets better. He stated that he woke up to Dawn holding a rifle. She told him that she was going to kill everyone. So he wrestled the gun from Dawn, and she just ran out of the room. She disappeared. So then Ron walked through the house, killing everyone one by one. What? It's like he's like, okay, this is the story. We're getting there. And I forgot what I said, so I'm just going to kind of take a U-turn.
We've lied so much now that we don't know what the truth is.
It's insane.
This guy is something else.
When he was cross-examined by prosecution, he would then say it was Dawn that actually killed the boys. And
So Dawn was the mob?
Dawn was the mob.
Okay.
She killed the boys. And Ron would also say that, Dawn and the parents would fight a lot, and it would often turn violent. He then said he should have just let his family kill each other. Ron would also state that for months he heard voices.
Technically, his family did kill each other. He killed them all.
And that's true. Ron would state that he heard voices when he was at the house and that they would tell him to do bad things. He would look around for the source of these voices, but no one would be there. So obviously it was God telling him to do these things.
So we're going full schizophrenia here, folks.
Total crazy.
He must have done some research in the jail library.
Oh, just wait. Just wait. We're getting there. The prosecution asked Ron if he thought anyone was after him, and Ron would say, yeah. And he pointed at his aunt that had testified that day and said, she's against me. And then they would ask, well, is there anyone else in the courtroom that might be against you? And he goes, yeah, you. Talking about the attorney. So he really is just digging his heels in. I am crazy.
Yeah, he's going, just like they said in Tropic Thunder, he's going full crazy.
Well, it was also brought to light that Ron was bragging to his cellmates that they were going to try for the insanity plea. Ron claimed he was a bigger deal than Charles Manson, and he also was heard asking guards, how do insane inmates act?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember looking at those photos, and he kind of looks like he idolized Manson a lot just by his looks.
Yeah, because I think, which I'll post the picture, I guess now, of his mugshot. And the first time, I didn't even tell Josh the story yet. And he's like, that guy looks like Charles Manson.
Yeah, he does. He looks just exactly like him.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
Well, he went ahead and asked the guards, how do insane inmates act? And they would kind of tell him, some of the things that they would do. And what do you know? Ron would then start imitating everything he was told. Ron was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, but the psychiatrist said this would have no effect on Ron's capability of knowing right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought I said it, but I guess I don't. When he asked the guard, what do they do? He's like, oh, well, they'll look at you and they won't remember you. They know you. They know you, but they won't realize it's you, or they'll set fires, or they'll do this. So he literally, everything that he said, Ron started doing. He tried to set a fire in his cell. He would walk up to somebody that he knew and pretended like he didn't know who they were, and was just mimicking everything they said. The trial lasted about a month and a half, and the jury deliberated for only 3 days.
It would have took me 3 minutes.
No kidding. On November 21st, Ron DeFeo was found guilty on all 6 counts of second-degree murder. The jurors would later say that they could not ignore the fact that Ron went to great lengths, hiding evidence showing he knew what he was doing was wrong and was trying to cover it all up. Ron was sentenced to 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life on December 4th, 1975, and then in later years, DeFeo would later admit that there were never really any voices, that he acted alone. He would later use this to his advantage and say that his attorney knew this as well, and that the attorney was just trying to make a huge case to profit off a book or movie deal, basically forcing him to use the insanity plea. Ron did try to get a new trial due to the attorney pushing this narrative, but it was denied. He appealed the case many times, but each one was denied. On March 12th, 2021, Ron DeFeo passed away. The cause of death was never released. They never said why. They never said natural causes. We don't know if another inmate got a hold of him. No idea. Just passed away.
One can hope.
One can hope. Which I will. I'm still not done with my research. I'm going to finish it tomorrow before tomorrow night. But some things that I didn't realize is how soon the Lutz family moved into the house after the DeFeo murders.
Oh, really?
It is insane how soon.
Really? I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yes. I thought it was like years later.
That's what I would assume.
No. And then, like, I just found out some information about, I don't want to give too much away, but the Lutz family ends up meeting Ron DeFeo's attorney. And that causes some issues, hoopla, craziness. So I'm almost done researching it. I've got to finish it tomorrow, but I think we'll have a good case for Remember That, and for us and for our listeners. And we appreciate you guys sticking with us and letting us be late after the holiday.
Yep. Especially with our growing pains that we've had.
Yeah.
Hopefully this episode is better. We've got some new equipment.
Yeah. Hopefully it sounds better. Hopefully it works better. It's already 11 o'clock and we've got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So
time to wrap it up.
Time to be done.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Thank you for all the shares, comments, likes. Our numbers have gone up quite a bit here lately.
Yeah. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Y'all are really doing a good job.
Yeah. You guys seem to like me and Josh, and Tori and Seth are living their best lives. So I guess when they're ready to grace us with their presence, we'll bring them back.
Yeah. We look forward to them coming back.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a fresh perspective on things.
And I think because we all are at a different stage in life, I think we all bring our own individual perspective to it. So it works out pretty good.
I give that 40-year-old I don't really care vibe.
Damn, you're old.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. We got to get up for work in the morning. Tomorrow's going to be another late night.
Oh, yeah.
We're burning the candle at both ends. We're both busy at work. My busy season's coming up. Josh is... do you have a busy season?
This is going to be kind of a busy season because it's the end of the year and people try to get a lot of their surgeries and stuff done. So those places are going to be more busy. Therefore, there are going to be more breakdowns and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to a busy month.
Good luck to us.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, we've got a tournament Saturday.
Yep.
Bubba's playing at the Cowboy Stadium on Sunday.
This Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was not expecting that this early.
Surprise!
Guess it's better than on Christmas.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, we'll bring you guys the Amityville Horror next week with special guest Remember That. Go follow them, like, subscribe. Tell them we sent you. That way they know.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, next week we'll also be on their podcast talking about Amityville Horror, which I guess I need to check with him and see, are we doing the original or the remake?
I'm not sure. That's something we need to find out.
That's something we need to find out, so I'll ask him. All right. Well, that's it. We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah. Catch y'all next time.
Bye.